You're walking through a food court and suddenly you smell fresh fries. You weren't even hungry a minute ago. But now you're thinking about grabbing a box. Or maybe you've opened a bag of chips planning to eat just a few, only to look down and realize half the bag is gone. So why does fried food feel so good? You know what? Let's dive into it. Here, right now. Fried food gives your brain several things it naturally loves all at once. Crunch, fat, warmth, aroma, and lots of flavor. It's a combination that was incredibly rare throughout most of human history, but now it's available in almost every restaurant, drive-thru, and grocery store. And that's why a simple French fry can feel surprisingly hard to resist. But there's much more happening than most people realize. Because the story actually starts long before the food reaches your mouth. Think about the last time you walked past a fast food restaurant. Sometimes the smell alone is enough to make you hungry. That's because your brain begins reacting before you take a single bite. The aroma of fried food is packed with tiny flavor molecules released during cooking. As those molecules reach your nose, your brain starts predicting a rewarding experience. It's almost like your brain is getting a trailer for the movie before the movie starts, and the trailer is often enough to get your attention. But the real magic begins when food enters hot oil. Take a plain potato. By itself, it's fairly simple. Now drop that same potato into hot oil. Almost immediately, water inside the potato begins escaping as steam. The outside starts drying out and turning crispy. At the same time, hundreds of new flavor compounds begin forming. The surface changes from pale and soft to golden brown and crunchy. That's why fries taste completely different from boiled potatoes, even though they started as the same ingredient. The frying process transforms texture, smell, appearance, and flavor all at once. And your brain notices every one of those changes. One of the biggest reasons fried food feels satisfying has nothing to do with taste. It's the crunch. That crispy sound may seem unimportant, but your brain pays close attention to it. Imagine biting into a fresh potato chip. You hear a sharp crack. Now imagine biting into a stale chip that bends instead of crunching. Same basic food, very different experience. The crunch tells your brain something important: fresh, crisp, enjoyable. Many food companies spend enormous amounts of time trying to create the perfect crunch, because they know texture can be almost as important as flavor. Your ears are helping shape the eating experience just as much as your taste buds. And that's only one piece of the puzzle. Another reason fried food feels so good is fat. For most of human history, calories weren't guaranteed. Finding enough food required effort, time, and sometimes luck. Our ancestors didn't have supermarkets filled with thousands of choices. Food was often unpredictable, so the human brain evolved to appreciate foods that delivered lots of energy. Fat happens to be one of the most energy-rich nutrients available. Gram for gram, it contains more than twice the calories of carbohydrates or protein. In a world where food shortages were common, that's incredibly valuable. The result is that our brains evolved reward systems that encourage us to seek calorie-rich foods. Thousands of years ago, that helped people survive. Today, those same systems are still operating. The difference is that modern fried food delivers those rewards with almost no effort. You don't need to spend days hunting, gathering, or searching. You can get a basket of fries in minutes. And then there's salt. Most fried foods don't just contain fat. They're also heavily seasoned. Salt plays an important role in how we experience flavor. Without enough salt, many foods taste flat. Add the right amount, and flavors become stronger and more noticeable. That's why a salted French fry often tastes dramatically better than an unsalted one. Your brain isn't responding to just one thing. It's responding to several rewarding signals arriving at the same time. Crunch, fat, salt, warmth, aroma, flavor. Each one adds another layer of satisfaction. Together, they create an experience that's much bigger than the sum of its parts. But here's where things get even more interesting. Fried food doesn't just taste good while you're eating it. Sometimes it tastes good before you even take the first bite. Think about pizza arriving at the table, or a basket of hot fries being placed in front of you. There's a brief moment of anticipation. You can smell it, you can see it, you know what's coming. That anticipation itself activates reward pathways in the brain. In other words, part of the pleasure comes from expecting the pleasure. Your brain loves predicting rewards. And fried food often delivers exactly what your brain expects. That predictability matters. When you bite into a fry, you know it's going to be crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. When you eat a potato chip, you know you're going to get that familiar crunch. Your brain likes reliable rewards, and fried foods are remarkably consistent at providing them. This helps explain another common experience. Why is it so easy to keep eating? You've probably noticed that the first chip often leads to a second, then a third. Then suddenly the bag is nearly empty. Part of the reason is that each bite reinforces the experience your brain was already expecting. The reward keeps arriving exactly as predicted, and because the portions are often small and easy to eat, it's simple to keep reaching for one more. Of course, none of this means fried food has some kind of irresistible superpower. People stop eating all the time. But understanding why it feels rewarding helps explain why these foods have become so popular across cultures and generations. In fact, nearly every part of the world has its own version of fried food. French fries, fried chicken, tempura, fish and chips, churros, onion rings, donuts. The ingredients may be different, but the appeal is surprisingly similar. Humans everywhere seem to appreciate that combination of crisp texture and rich flavor. And there may be another reason. Frying creates contrast. Many fried foods are crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. That contrast makes each bite more interesting. Think about biting into a perfectly fried, crunchy chicken. The outside crackles, the inside stays soft and juicy. Your brain experiences multiple textures at once. That variety helps keep the experience engaging. It's one reason why texture matters so much in food. Now, here's the part that surprises many people. The reason fried food feels so satisfying isn't because your brain is broken. It's because your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. For most of human history, finding energy-rich foods was useful. Being attracted to rewarding foods helped people survive. The challenge is that modern food environments are very different from the environments when those preferences developed. Today, foods can be carefully designed to maximize flavor, texture, aroma, and convenience. The systems that once helped humans find valuable sources of energy now encounter those signals everywhere. And fried food happens to deliver many of them exceptionally well. So, the next time a basket of hot fries smells impossible to ignore, remember what's actually happening. Your brain is responding to a combination of cues that humans have been wired to appreciate for a very long time. The aroma grabs your attention. The crunch signals freshness. The fat provides richness. The salt boosts flavor. The warmth adds comfort. And together, they create an experience that feels deeply satisfying. That's why fried food feels so good. Not because it's magical, not because you lack willpower, but because it pushes several of your brain's favorite buttons all at once. And once you understand that, those golden fries start to make a lot more sense. You know what? The most interesting part of everyday life is often hiding in things we experience all the time without thinking about them. If you enjoyed this little mystery behind one of the world's favorite foods, make sure to stick around for more everyday curiosities right here on You Know What.